You can find thousands and thousands of artists online making a full-time income from their art, right? And if you're somebody that is looking to make a full-time income, then this video is for you, even if you don't have social media or you don't want to make social media content on behalf of your products, because you want to spend your time making art because that is what you're good at. Then you are going to want to stick around until the end of this video. If you have ever heard of the terminology starving artist, I can 100% promise you that that is a real thing. Artists really struggle, and what they struggle with is finding a product that the market actually wants to buy for the price point they want to sell it at versus creating something that they just want to make. So if they struggle with finding that balance of what they want to make, right? That's why they're called starving artists, because they only want to do what they want to do, but then also discovering the balance of what does the market actually want? What is the market actually willing to pay for, right? And so in this video, if you're somebody that wants to quit their 9-to-5 job, if you want to go fully remote, if you want to sell things online that is your art, your creativity, then this video is going to be for you, because there is 100% an avenue. And actually, if you are an artist and you are somebody that is creative, you actually have a heightened value proposition than other people on the market. So this is even better for you if you're somebody that is serious about wanting to make your art a full-time income, right? And so in this video, we're going to break it up into 3 parts. We're going to talk about 1, the balance, how to discover what the market actually wants, and how to determine if what the market wants is actually what you have to sell or what you want to sell in your mind in terms of your art and your creativity, your brand vibe, your actual type of designs that you make, whatever it is that you're doing in your art world. So we're going to go through a process called finding the balance. Then number 2 is going to be called finding your angle. So what angle we're going to approach to actually sell these goods, right? And again, is especially for you, if you're an artist, you're already a pre-existing creative and you don't have a lot of followers on social media, or maybe you don't even want to do social media. And number 3 is we're going to go to market. So I'm going to give you a go-to-market strategy of how you're going to launch already successfully making sales. All right, so let's get into part 1, which is finding the balance. Part 1 of this is called finding the balance. So we have to find the balance in the marketplace between what people actually want to buy versus what you want to sell. So a lot of times with starving artists, especially in the online space, they just want to sell whatever they want to sell. So if this bucket resembles just your art as is, no market validation or anything else, right? A lot of times what you find is that what you want to sell isn't actually what the market wants. On one side, if you're only doing what the market wants and not actually, loving what you're doing, you're going to experience burnout. But on the other side, if you're the artist side and you're only doing what you want and you're not doing any market validation, that means that you could be potentially putting thousands of hours into products and designs that nobody actually wants to buy. So that's why we need to actually find the balance and do some market research on trying to figure out what do people actually want, what's proving to sell in the marketplace. To start this validation process, I'm going to Etsy.com. Now, I know some artists out there do not like Etsy.com, but truthfully, I have not seen a better alternative for sellers to sell their art with the amount of traffic that comes to Etsy.com in comparison to anything else. So I have yet to be proven that there is another platform that doesn't require you spending hours and hours making social media content that is better than Etsy. Etsy brings a lot of traffic to artists and to your listings that you otherwise would have to pay for that traffic somewhere else, or you would have to be making viral content. So I personally still love Etsy as an angle, and so that's why throughout this video you are going to be seeing Etsy as the sales channel of choice for artists to date. And actually, one of the major complaints is that now Etsy is like, people are reselling stuff from China or something like that. But the truth is that if you market your products properly, that shines through. People in a listing, even if it's online, can see whether something is just being resold on Temu or not, right? Like if you're doing something like this where you're showcasing, that you're the one that's actually designing the product here. So like this guy is making anime characters, right? But he actually shows the process of him actually drawing the art himself, right? Even though someone could maybe even use AI to do this, right? This is a heightened value proposition, right? He's selling it for $100 for him to draw you a custom anime character here has a bestseller badge, right? It's showing that it's done $12,000 in revenue, right? And it's a proven concept. And so when you actually are a handmade seller and you're giving a handmade touch to your products, this increases the perceived value of the product and is a price justification. So even in the pottery, like you could easily go on Target or something like that, but why are people buying, stuff like this? Because they're building a connection to the person that's actually making it, because they're showcasing that there's actually a human behind this product, right? And so if you're going to go online and you're not going to sell just at markets or just in person, it's important that all that storytelling that you would be able to do in person is what you're doing in the digital space as well, right? And it's just a matter of adding a video, having, a good brand, a cohesive brand, all of those things that we're going to talk about in this video. But when it comes to market validation, right, what we want to prove is that our art is showing clear signs of demand. So we want to search for what we are thinking about selling, right? And we want to see if we can find competition that is selling the same thing at a similar price point that we have in our mind. And if we can't find competition, this is actually usually a negative thing, because that means that people are not actually using the search bar here to find products that we would want to sell. So I typed in another product here because I think this is a really cool opportunity, because it's basically in the calendar space, but it doesn't have to technically be a calendar. I typed in holiday calendar just because Christmas coming up, right? And I wanted to see if there was any demand showing for calendars. So this is a Chrome extension here I'm using. It's called ProfitTree. So this box here is not actually from Etsy. It's a tool that I'm using that gives me these different additional metrics here. They also have a web app version where they have Product Finder and Etsy Radar. Etsy Radar is the one that we're using in the Chrome extension. Product Finder is searching from their own internal database of products, right? So I typed in 2026 calendar, right? I wanted the price to be over $30 and I wanted it to be a physical good, not a digital good, right? So I could come here and see what are the top calendars and how much money they're making per month. Etsy Radar, again, is the Chrome extension version. So that is why you can see all these additional metrics on the listing pages or on an Etsy search page, right? So why am I looking up holiday calendar? Because holiday calendar, there's a lot of ways, a lot of angles that we're going to talk about in number 2 that we could actually sell these holiday calendars without having to actually package it ourselves or ship it to our customer, right? And this is a whole angle that we're going to talk about in step number 2 for artists, of how you could mass produce your art without actually having to touch the product, right? And that is something that a lot of artists struggle with, because they are really good at doing what they're doing, but the logistics of it all is really overwhelming. So let's look at this one. Say you're an artist that's really good at painting, right? So you can see the unique value selling point here of this calendar is that they're showing that they're actually drawing this. They're not using some ChatGPT prompt, right? Like this is their original art, right? And that is a price justification that they're selling this calendar for $40, where other calendars are being sold for $10, right? But why is this one have 20 add to carts, an Etsy pick badge, right? And it's showing $36,000 in revenue according to ProfitTree. And the reason why this is doing so well is because they're showing that they're actually making the product. Not only actually making the product, but they're building a product that people actually want. It's showing a travel wall calendar. So the uniqueness of the concept is what is actually selling the product of the different locations. It's all of the things combined, right? And so if you're an artist that has a similar art style or can produce a similar art style, or maybe it's a completely different art style, right? Maybe it's like completely retro, right? Maybe it's a whole different concept of art, but the overall product value proposition of it being an illustration for different locations is the same, right? And this is a really, really great opportunity to consider if you're somebody that is good at drawing and now you have the data that says, okay, 2026 travel calendars, but with my own art style and my technique. Another one that I found here that 7 people bought in the last 24 hours, right, is the seasonal produce calendar at $52. So that's literally almost over $200 a day. And remember, what we're going to talk about are different angles where you don't actually have to print this yourself. If you come back to, I typed in wall art here, you can see this one is this is a brand new listing already doing $2,000 a month, right? 20 views in the last 24 hours, right? This is another option where they're selling the actual print for it. But again, you could use a print provider that you don't even have to touch the product to basically ship this art to your customer. And so when you're doing this research, right, you're looking again for a couple of different things, right? As an artist, you want to see that is your art style actually in demand, right? So maybe maybe your art, I don't even know, this is minimalist botanical. Maybe you're more tropical modern, right? Like maybe your art style is tropical modern, right? We want to validate that whatever you would be creating, right? If you were someone sketching that out, right? Or something like this type of wall art, if you were creating this, you want to see, is there actually demand, right? Or is there actually solid revenue happening for the art that I want to make on the market? And you're looking for direct competition. Again, if you cannot find direct competition for your given art style, then that is usually a red flag that the masses of people aren't wanting what you have to sell. And so if you can find somebody where you're like, wow, you kind of get like this gut feeling. You're like, wow, I know that I can recreate this, but I actually can do it better, right? Then that is a super green light that you can actually probably go into that product type or into that category. And guys, if you are not even wanting to sell on Etsy, but you are starting to do the research process of your art business, ProfitTree is still really good for you, right? Even if you're, you don't really necessarily want to go on Etsy, this is still going to show you in demand products, right? And so the demand that's happening on one platform is likely going to be similar demand that you're going to get on another platform. Like this is, even if you didn't want to sell on Etsy, right? Looking at what's in demand is major key. It's actually a step that you cannot skip if you want to start a business. The worst thing that you can do is start a business without doing any market validation and waste a bunch of time and energy on products that don't sell, right? So here's another one, another calendar, right? This one doesn't even have a video showing that they drew it, which again, that would be a heightened value proposition for you, showcasing that you actually put a video, little phone video here showing that you actually made the product. Now we're going to talk about the angle. So the angle of how we're going to approach actually selling our products. So there is 3 different options when it comes to selling your products on Etsy. We're going to go over right now. The first angle is something called print on demand. So print on demand is a model that you don't actually have to touch your product. And I'm really excited actually to talk about this one because for artists, I think this is really important because a lot of times artists want to just build one-off items, but that's not scalable. And if you want to make the hit revenue goals, you have to build a scalable business. So even when we come back to say these pottery sellers here, right? If these sellers want to be able to make sales time and time again, they have to be able to reproduce the same product over and over. And doing print on demand actually allows you to do that. So when I look at this really cool product opportunity here, this one that has 20 added carts, 36K in revenue, right? There's something called print on demand, and there's ways that you can make this product where you don't actually have to touch it. So I'm going to show you how we can recreate this calendar right now. So we're in a company here called Gelato, and what Gelato does is it connects to your Etsy shop or your Shopify store, and it allows you to bulk or produce in scale your art. Gelato has the largest catalog of print products on the market, and they also work with the most print providers globally. So they have over 140 print partners worldwide that allows them to basically not only be able to ship their products faster per location, since there's so many different print partners, but overall just the most global. So if you're trying to serve international markets, they're a really, really competitive choice, and not to mention just having a large array of products. I posted a really cool video because one thing that they have in here that no other platform has is these photo books, and children's books are a huge opportunity as well. So if you are somebody that can draw really well, I would recommend you check out that video as well, because I made an entire children's book and I posted it and got a sale the same day. Personalized children's books are something really, really cool and really simple to do and very, very low competition. So I came in here, you can choose from anything that you want to print your art on, right? So here is calendars, right? And I'm going to find a calendar here that is the same size, so 8.5 by 11, which is the same size as this one here, I believe. Yep, 8.2 by 11 inches. right? So what we can do is we actually can start creating this product and sync it into our Etsy store. So if I go like this and I go add to store, right? It's already, if I already made the integration for my Etsy store, I could start designing this product, right? And now I can just drag and drop the exact designs I want. I can even customize, right, the font over here, so on and so forth. And this is really, really important if you, again, want to really bring your artistry to life and be able to grow a scalable business. Because again, a lot of times you're making one-off art, which is not, it's okay to do that, but you're never going to hit the revenue goals that you want if you can't actually sell your art at scale, right? And so what this seller in particular is doing is they're scanning their art as a photo and then replicating it on the actual calendar. And you can see it goes beyond just the calendar. They also have prints, which Gelato also has prints as well, right? You can see you have prints like this on premium matte paper. So you don't actually need to go out, buy a 3D printer or anything like that. You can just go ahead, sync this to your Etsy shop, and then once you start getting sales, a Gelato is actually going to fulfill the item for you. So how would you actually compete with a listing like this? Well, right off the bat, you can see that they only offer one size, but inside Gelato, you could actually offer 3 different sizes. So this is an increased value proposition to your listing, because now all of a sudden you can see that the vertical or horizontal, whichever one you want to do, you can see an image of what it looks like. So a vertical would look like this, a horizontal looks like this, right? Say you wanted to do horizontal in just these 2 sizes, that alone already heightens your value proposition compared to this one, because you can now offer variation. You can offer a smaller square or a larger rectangle size, right? So that alone allows you to show a cheaper price on the front end, but with a similar value proposition. It doesn't mean that you're copying their designs one for one, right? But in terms of someone looking for a travel calendar, right? If you come out with a similar value proposition, being travel calendar with your own unique art that is proven with demand, right? And you're now having more variation option in your drop down menu that Gelato offers, right? This just increases your value proposition and helps you compete in a marketplace where these listings have already been active. But as you can see inside of Gelato, there's endless of products that you can actually print your products on. What I recommend for your angle is that you select one print provider, that is Gelato, followed by one singular product type. So you can see you can do shirts, wall art, mugs, right? There's all different types of products that you can choose from. But similar to how we did check demand in our product research, right? I would suggest that you start by only choosing one product type. So if you want to do just wall art, just start with wall art. If you want to do just calendars, just start with calendars. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't branch off like this store and have a bunch of different products. It's just in the beginning, you want to master one before you master another, because calendars have different pricing strategy, different profit margins, different keywords than say wall art, right? And you're going to keep the fundamentals the same, but in the beginning, I would focus on building out one collection at a time so you can gain traction and master one product type before moving to the others. And now the winning with this again is after you select your angle. So if your angle is print on demand and you have your product type that is calendars, right? The winning is that you're validating with demand that there is some proof in the marketplace for the product or concept that you want to sell. So if the product and concept was a travel calendar, right, we have proven that this is to sell with this type of brand vibe, right? But this doesn't mean that, again, you have to go on to this brand vibe. You can do different brand vibes. So if I go travel calendar, if this one was more watercolor, right, this is more realistic, right? This one is more graphic design. This one is more vintage, right? Whatever category you would fall under, you just want to validate that your actual, not only product type, but your overall vibe matches what the market wants with some proven demand of revenue, which again, ProfitTree is going to show you. Once you have finalized your angle, guys, there's going to be a link in the description for not only ProfitTree, but also Gelato down below so that you can come in here and start shopping their catalog for different product types that you could potentially sell with your art. And again, they're going to show you how much everything costs. And so you can already start seeing seeing on, even when you start doing your research with your competitors, right, you can see that they sell this at $39. So you can already start estimating your profit. And ProfitTree has an actual calculator inside of their Chrome extension, right? So if I go to pricing calculator here, right, if the price is 39, let's just go back to Gelato real quick. So if we go back to calendar, so the product price is $5.31 and the shipping is $7, or let's just round up so it's a little bit in USD. So let's just open their pricing calculator. So if the sale price, say, our competitor was at 39, but let's say we want to be at 35. Let's say we charge our customer for $4 for shipping. The cost of goods, let's just say it's $6.50 because it was in euros, and the shipping cost is $7.50, right? That means that we're going to make about, after Etsy selling fees and product costs, we're going to make about $20 per unit. And that is really, really, really good return, right? So if we go back to that listing that was showing that demand, right, it's sitting in 20 carts, right? That means that in 1 year, this single product could do about $36,000 in top line estimated revenue, which is really good because this is just for one product, right? This shop has 312 listings. So if one product is just making you that money, you can run the numbers of what you could actually produce. So print on demand is one angle. Another angle is digital downloads. So it's selling just the digital asset. So if we wanted to do this, like, we could go back into ProfitTree and just look at what the opportunity is for digital downloads. Digital downloads, again, it's just a digital file for the product you're selling. And if your art is a good fit for something digital, then this could also be a good angle for you. So I came back to ProfitTree here and I just typed in a broad word art, and then I put digital here. So digital products for art, right? And I'm gonna just filter here. I'm gonna do another filter for just the best sellers. So let's just see what type of art is best selling, and it's a digital product, right? So 5 people bought this in the last 24 hours. It's a whole shop bundle of mega art set. So it's someone selling all of their art in a digital assets, right? Now, the downfall of this is a lot of times digital products like this are low ticket, right? And so that's something that you have to gauge when you're choosing your angle, right? So when you're choosing your angle, you fundamentally want to decide on the pros and cons of all these angles and choose one, right? So print on demand is physical, digital downloads also obviously digital, and then completely handmade is like what we saw with the pottery, where you're actually making the goods, which is really, really good as well because people love handmade goods, especially when it's advertised like that. It's just really important that you advertise that you're handmade, but also make sure that you're building products that are actually scalable so you can make them over and over again. So now number 3 is we actually should go to market. So up until now, we had to find the balance, right? So we're not just making some obscure product or putting our art on some obscure product. We're choosing a proven product, right? We found that it was specifically watercolor travel calendar. So it's not just a generic calendar. It's not a random art calendar. It's a travel calendar. That's the unique selling point of it. The angle that we are going to take is print on demand. We're not doing digital downloads. We're not trying to make it ourselves because the numbers make sense. And now we're going to go to market and use a go-to-market strategy. So we're going to sell on Etsy as our vehicle. We could sell it for $30 since our competition was priced higher. And then we are going to be using Gelato to fulfill the product. And then the way that we're going to compete is because Gelato, again, offers that more variation options. So if we come back to the calendar, right, we can offer more sizes and we could do horizontal and vertical. And then also in competing, we could offer a personalization component, which our competitor is not even doing. So in Gelato, they have a personalization section here where basically what we could do is, like, on that calendar in real time, we can customize personal elements. So on Etsy, not on this listing, right, you could actually offer a personalization component. So you could put on the back a gift for so-and-so. So then they would have the option here to make a personalization request. or potentially even take it a step further where they could, make a personalization request for what travel destination they want to put on the cover or something like that. So this is an example of a listing that offers a personalization request. So you could do a drop down menu like this, and every time you get a sale, you could offer personalization on top of having more variation options than your competition and a better price point. If you also added in personalization, you're pretty much guaranteeing that your product is going to be the one that's already proven to work on the market, right? So, and then obviously we're going to have a storytelling video showing that we're the artist and actually putting a face to the brand, right? And when you set up every single part of your go-to-market strategy like this, based off of data, this is how you are proven to win, because you're not just picking an obscure product, right? Or an absurd product type. You're actually proving that it's actually working in the marketplace. Now, calendars are obviously one example, but there are many, many other product types that you can find inside of Gelato if you come in and check out their catalog. So let's just go back to the products here. And you can just shop for more products to sell and back those products with actual data. I also put out another really good video with them on children's books, right? Children's books are another huge video. I can link below this video. So this is the video that I posted with the Gelato children's book. So Gelato is the only company on the market that actually offers books, right? And the option that you're going to use is this photo book here. So they're the only print provider that does this, and you can turn this into children's books and personalized children's books. So this video is really, really valuable because no stone is unturned. We go through every single step of how you can find the opportunity, how you actually validate the type of children's books that are selling, and then we go into actually how I wrote it, how I designed it, and then we go step by step how you actually launch it in Gelato and then launch it on your Etsy storefront. I actually posted this book and I got a sale the same day I posted it, but you can see every single step of how we actually made this book come to fruition. It was super, super easy, and it was really, really cute. It came out really high quality in Gelato. Like the Gelato quality printing was it looked so good. It was like this perfect matte finish, and I was really, really happy with the results. Children books are really competitive to sell, especially if you're an artist. So if you're somebody that can draw, it's a really competitive product opportunity because there's a heightened value proposition. One, if you actually design it yourself because you're the artist, you're the illustrator. But two, the books that are doing the best are personalized children's books. And because you have Gelato, you wouldn't have to actually fulfill it yourself or print it yourself, right? Every time you get an order, basically you just change the name of the kid or the child, and you have Gelato fulfill it for you. And the margins on this are really high as well. I think it was about a 50% profit margin percentage before marketing. So it's a very, very competitive, well-priced product. And the one that we did in the video was just the minimum, which is 30, and a hard cover. But then but you also can offer soft cover as well. And again, Gelato is the only company that actually has children's books. So if you're interested in this video and you are an artist and feel like you could design children's books, you definitely can make a full-time income. We even reveal the revenue results or potential revenue and profits of a store like this in this video. So I'll make sure I link that video below. And I also have an entire free 6-hour Etsy course that I just posted on my YouTube channel as well. So we can link that as well. Hopefully, if you're an artist, you can now see the potential of all of the different types of products that you can sell and how to mass produce your custom art while still keeping your values with your art and still hitting revenue goals. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.